Hey peddlers, welcome back to a brand new video. In this video, I'll be sharing my initial riding experience on the Magene T100 direct drive bike trainer. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Now, full disclaimer, Magene was nice enough to send me this unit in exchange to share my honest thoughts of the unit itself, which I'm very appreciative of. Now, what makes this trainer so eye-catching is the price. It retails for $399. Now, many of you, including me, when taking a look at the Magene T100, it looks quite similar to the Wahoo KICKR Core, but in terms of how both these trainers perform, it's quite different. And like I said about the price of the Magene T100 that retails for $399, the Wahoo KICKR Core is at least 1,000 USD. So in terms of the difference, you're saving 600 USD with the Magene T100, but then again, you're losing on some of the functionality that the Wahoo KICKR Core offers. Now, in terms of how the unit sends its data to training apps like Zwift or Trainer Road, that's all done through Bluetooth or ANT+. Now, the trainer didn't come with a cassette, which for me was an inconvenience because I had a cassette laying around, but you should remember when you're buying a trainer that most likely you'll have to supply an extra cassette. Now, when I initially unboxed this trainer, I was disappointed, but then again, I already knew this going into it that it didn't have a handle, which was one of the complaints that a lot of people had with the Wahoo KICKR Core with the first generation, which they added into the future generations of the KICKR, was that they actually added a handle because a lot of people live in confined spaces such as apartments, so they need to be able to move the unit easily for storage. So the fact that the Magene T100 didn't have a handle was kind of a disappointment, and because it's pretty light, which is 15 kilograms to 33 pounds, it's not that hard to move around. I just would have liked to have a handle because it is very often awkward to move trainers in general, because just a handle makes it so much easier. You just pick up, move, drop, and then when you have to store it, do the same thing. Now, all the direct drive trainers I've ever been on have to be connected to a power source, but this trainer actually just uses 2 AAA batteries for it to transfer the data from the unit to whatever training app that you're using, such as Zwift or Trainer Road. Now, you might be asking, why doesn't it connect to an outlet? And that's because the max power that you can put on this trainer is 700 watts. Now, the reason why the Magene T100 can only go to 700 watts is because this is not a smart trainer. Now, often you might get confused thinking that it's a direct drive trainer that looks exactly like the Wahoo KICKR, that it is a smart trainer, but it's not. And the difference is that on the Magene T100, the gradient and the power that you might be doing in a workout won't be automatically changed for you and set for you. So what that means is, say you're going up a climb in Zwift at 8-9%, the trainer won't change the resistance on the trainer for you automatically. Say you're doing a workout of endurance at 190 watts and you're expecting the unit to hold it for you in erg mode, so you don't have to change gears. It'll just hold 190 for the whole effort. That won't happen on this trainer because it is not a smart trainer. It will not change or hold resistance for you automatically. Now, if you're familiar with old style fluid trainers that followed a natural resistance curve, which basically means the harder you push, the more resistance the unit would create, which would mean that you would have to put yourself in a harder gear in order to have more resistance. The reason why this can be a disadvantage is, say you're riding up a hill. Now, because the resistance isn't changing automatically for you, you won't be spinning in 70 RPMs like you're actually climbing out of the saddle. You might have to put yourself in a very low gear, which means you could be spinning and pushing 300 watts, but you're climbing. So in terms of the actual overall experience, I don't think it's very good if you're looking for that realism in Zwift, for example, where you really do feel like you're changing resistance and you're actually climbing. This trainer won't give you that ability. I also forgot to mention that it's pretty easy to calibrate the trainer itself. Magene has an app that you can download in order to do that. And in terms of power accuracy, the trainer is power accurate. Now, I'm not trying to flex with this next point, but in Zwift, I am level 50 and have lots of kilometers. So I would say I'm very well versed in Zwift. I've been riding Zwift for lots of years, and here are my thoughts on this trainer and where this trainer really flourishes and who's this trainer for and all that good stuff. So For me, usually I'm not really going to be sprinting over 700 watts if I'm being honest. The only time I've really seen myself push a trainer is that if I'm in a Zwift race and there's a sprint. Obviously, being able to sprint 900, 1000, 1200 watts is important because that's either you're going to win the race or lose the race if it comes down to a bunch sprint. So that's why I find it that if you're really into Zwift racing, this trainer is definitely not for you. Where I think this trainer really excels are for people that are looking to raise their FTP, they want to do sweet spot efforts, and they want to just have a trainer that will let them get on and have a good initial indoor riding experience. This is not for the veteran that has lots of kilometers indoors. This is for someone that's on a budget that's looking to get into indoor training. And personally for me, when I ride indoors, a lot of it is structured training, structured workouts. So I'm holding wattage at, let's say if I'm doing a sweet spot effort of 300 watts, then I'm going to hold that for 20 minutes. Now it's nice when you do have a smart trainer that you don't really have to think about the gear and you can just hold it automatically for you. But in this situation, when I'm riding it, I didn't feel like it was that bad. Yet again, you have to remember the price of this unit is $399. So for me to finish all my workouts, I really didn't have a problem on the Magene T100. It really served its purpose. So in terms of just becoming fitter on the bike, it really holds up. If you're not going to be sprinting or doing any Zwift racing, this trainer is more than enough. And that's what I want to stress. And I'm going to stress this really important, that this is a budget trainer. In no way is it pretending to be a full-on smart trainer, right? Now, this is for people that are just getting into indoor training, and for them to have such, I would say, in terms of ride quality, the feel, the build of the trainer, for $399, that price point is an actual steal. I remember when I first started indoor cycling training, the trainers that were on the market were all the ones where you actually had to put your tire onto the trainer. So you would have to get a specific trainer tire and it would be rubber burning, and that would be causing the resistance. And I can just remember how much of a headache that was. It was loud, it was noisy. Oh, and I almost forgot. If you guys want to hear the noise test of this trainer, I'm going to play it right now. Yeah, it's pretty quiet, and the only thing that actually is loud is probably your group set. Now, before I played the noise test, I was going on about how when I was doing indoor cycling training for the first time, that the trainers were loud. They didn't really feel that good. The quality wasn't there. So it's crazy to see how far technology has come and how low the price has come down to, where you can get a very good indoor experience for a relatively budget-friendly price of $399. Now, I would highly suggest, if you're trying to increase your fitness on the bike and get some good riding quality in, and you want to get into indoor cycling, then this is a very good trainer to take a look at, especially if you're on a budget. But those are my thoughts. A long-term review will be coming down the line, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Instagram and Strava, links in the description below if you want to see the type of riding that I do. And until the next one, keep on pedaling.